I think it's better to try to do as much as you can and try to absorb many things about the new language. So yeah, it helped me grow as a person and as an athlete for sure.
It's so nice to meet you, Pauline. I'm so excited to be speaking to you. I think you are an amazing example of motivation, dedication, and I'm sure you will be inspiring lots of learners around the world, not just in France. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Pauline. Who are you? How did English come into your life?
Yes, so my name is Pauline Ado. I'm 33, and I'm a professional surfer. I live in the southwest of France. And I started surfing very young, and I had the ambition to become a professional surfer very young. And as you may know, the surfing world there's a lot of English-speaking people and countries. Big countries in surfing are Australia.
There's a lot of traveling.
Exactly, a lot of traveling all around the world. So really quickly, I had to be able to communicate while traveling and also understand the speakers during competitions. So yes, I had to learn, and I also wanted to communicate with other surfers, and so I had to learn fast. And a funny story is that like in France, we start learning a language around 6, I think. But because I live super close to Spain, I started learning Spanish, and then I started surfing. And so during a few competitions, first times, they would tell the scores in English, and I couldn't understand a thing. So this is the first experience I remember about wanting to learn English, because I needed to know my scores.
You didn't understand the score. That's fantastic, because you were playing a game.
Yes.
And you needed to understand the rules, and you needed to understand your score. You wanted to win. How young were you when you had that?
I think I was 11. And so my
Wow.
coach, like 30 minutes before my event, was teaching me how to count from 0 to 10, because a wave in surfing is scored out of 10. And so they were trying to make me learn really quickly before the hit, just the scores. So it was, I have a good memory about it. It's funny.
And how was that a realization, or did you feel, okay, this is a problem, or how did you think about English in that moment?
What I thought was it gave me a lot of motivation, actually, because I had a lot of ambition in surfing, and I was inspired by great surfers. I wanted to compete and travel the world. So it was a big motivation. So at school, I really liked it straight away. I knew it was going to be useful for me. But actually, I quickly realized that, because I thought I was doing pretty good at school in English, and then I started traveling, and I started to have all those insecurities about not making any mistakes, and I was scared to go and talk to people. So I thought that was a realization at that time when I started traveling. So after that first travel, I thought, no, like I need to learn way better. I need to be more at ease. I want to communicate. I want to be part of this world. So I actually, in addition to school, I started watching movies or TV shows in English with subtitles, and like all those kind of things that I thought would help me. And it
Would help.
That's good.
That's so interesting, Pauline, because you're touching so many important things that we always tell our students, and we discuss with teachers all over the world, because there is this moment where you start learning, and then you have the insecurity, right?
Yeah.
The insecurity to talk, which is a really important barrier that many times people stop there and they feel so scared. So what made you go beyond that fear? Was it
Yeah.
the skills you have for sports?
I think so. A couple of stories about this. So, like I said, yeah, I was insecure, and because I was really shy growing up, like pretty
Yeah.
introvert. And actually, the first maybe another realization. I was traveling, and a friend, she was from Hawaii, and because I was so shy and not talking, she basically asked me if I had any friends in France, in my home country, and it kind of hurt. So I thought I really need to be better at this. And what really helped, so I had the motivation to be better. And what really helped is I had another friend from Australia. She had learned a little bit of French, and she knew the difficulty about learning another language. So I was really comfortable with her to try to speak and even ask her, like, how do you say this? Like, is that correct? Like, what does this word mean? And
Mm-hmm.
this relationship was super, super helpful for me, gave me a lot of confidence. And it also teach me how to ask if I didn't know. First, like speak anyway, even if I'm wrong, if I'm doing
If
mistakes, and also ask if I didn't understand a word or if I didn't know how to say something. So yeah,
that is incredible, because what you are explaining there is another thing that is fundamental, which is to have a mentor, or to have, many times that mentor is the teacher, who many times is also a non-native speaker, right? When you have a teacher in school that is French, like you, that also had to learn the language and understands the challenges of learning a language, and you have that empathy,
yeah,
and you found that in a colleague, which is amazing. And I think that's also your experience going through that process can also help other people that feel shy, like you did, to
yeah,
speak the language, and just don't give up. The other thing you said that I thought was amazing, is that you felt that you needed to be better. You had classes at school, but you
yeah,
looked for opportunities to have contact with the language. Of course, you were traveling. That's amazing. You had a real reason to practice to speak
yes,
English,
real motivation.
but you were also going after the content, the positive films. You said
Yep,
films.
because I was for me it was kind of an urge,
Yeah,
to be able to speak English better. And I realized that maybe at school I was doing maybe 2 hours a week of
yeah.
English, and the teacher
Hmm.
was French. So out of these 2 hours, a lot of it was in English, but she would maybe explain things in French. So it's not a
Of
full
course.
conversation in English.
Yeah,
So yeah, I was really eager to learn by other means. So like I said, I
of
was
course.
watching, and I picked things that I liked. Like I was watching movies I enjoy. I remember also it was back in this time. Harry Potter was huge. It's still big, and the books were coming out in English before French. So I
Of
was I
course.
really wanted to know the story, so I was buying the books in English before they would come out in French. So I was a bit struggling to read them. I was pretty slow, but this also helped me a lot.
This
Uh,
also helps. It's
yeah,
it's so amazing how you are explaining your learning journey, and you're touching all the right points, because what you did is exactly how we try
what
to
you
motivate
recommend. Yeah,
our students, going outside the classroom, looking for opportunities to practice, the importance of relationships, language, building new relationships, because you speak a different language and it allows you to talk to different people. And when you said, I thought it was so beautiful that you said, because this is a multi-language world, right? It's not English is the language that we use to communicate with each other, because
yeah,
it's this frank language of international communication. But the moment you learn another language, like your friend learning French, she could understand the
the
struggles.
struggles. Yeah,
and she could empathize, of course, because if you always speak English as a native language, sometimes you don't understand the challenges of other people. How did you find yourself in that international context? You were competing as a surfer. Did you feel that speaking better English also gave you more confidence in the sport? You felt more autonomous. Was that, did you feel it was related, the confidence in one and the confidence in the other?
Yes, for sure. But not only in sport. Yeah, I was, of course, in sport because I was able to express maybe what I thought, and sometimes I had to work with coaches or brands that would speak English. So yeah, of course, it gave me a lot of confidence about just be able to express what I thought and understand things. And it also gave me confidence because, like I said, I was pretty shy and I had to go kind of out of my shell to go and speak to people and like so it was really it was a mental thing too. The first few times or maybe years I had to really go out of my comfort zone, and now I'm just doing it. And like I said, like I'm not afraid of making mistakes. I try not to, but and also I think when you learn, you want to try to be perfect, and that's the wrong maybe um, state of mind. I think it's better to try to do as much as you can and try to absorb many things about the new language. So yeah, it helped me grow as a person and as an athlete for sure.
That's fantastic, and I'm so curious because you were very very young, and why did you want to be a surfer? What was the trigger? How did you find that exciting?
Well, first,
Especially as a shy person, or maybe it's
yeah.
related.
Well, I think it's related too because so I really loved sport and I was really competitive as a really young child. And I think surfing, first of all, I really liked the sensations, like the speed, the being in the ocean. I really loved those the feeling of being on a wave. And then I started competing and I won an event. So then I tested the winning. How can I say it?
The feeling, the
The
sensation,
feeling, the
right?
adrenaline of winning,
Adrenaline.
and I loved it. And for me, so being shy, this was a way of expressing myself, of affirming my personality and my what I was able to do. So
Hmm.
that's why I put so much energy into surfing and everything around it. Yeah.
It's so beautiful what you said, because you said surfing was part of expressing yourself, and you also said that speaking English allowed you to communicate and express yourself. So in a way, both the sport and this new language that you learned that is very related to the sport too made you express yourself
Yeah.
in different ways, and that's where you see the growth, right, as a
Yeah.
human being.
Definitely. It helped me grow, like I think a bit faster than maybe, actually probably way faster than people my age. But yeah, that feeling of that uncomfortable feeling turned into a big confidence about what I was capable to do, and I could realize how much faster I was growing, kind of, compared to my friends. Maybe they were growing in a different way, like they were doing other things, but I could realize that and how lucky I was to be able to live all those experiences.
The practice of sport and the learning of English, we say a lot that it's very similar. It's because you need to practice. It's not a subject you study English. It's a skill that you practice,
It's
and
a
you need to
gymnastic of
practice it.
your mind, kind
Yes.
of, for sure. Definitely.
So you had the same mindset, the practice of sport and the practice of the language. You know, if I'm a parent, or if I'm a young person listening to you, and I'm not a surfer myself, I am not, but there are many people that will listen that are not surfers, but they will be doing something else or thinking about English. What would you tell a young person listening to you? How would you explain to them the importance of learning English, or learning another language and learning English?
A lot of things in life, like now it's a really international world. People travel everywhere. Big companies have offices in many parts of the world. Um, Even if you have a passion, it can be sport, it can be music, art. Like there's always connections between countries and people. So you're gonna have, like, not being able to speak English is gonna cost you at some point. And so I think maybe young people or kids don't realize how helpful it's going to be later. But if they can link it to a passion, like, I don't know, like I said, art, music, maybe that will be the trigger.
I love that. I love what you said, linking it to a passion, right?
Yeah.
Exactly what happened to you. You were learning English to be able to pursue your passion
Yeah.
in the sport. And that is so beautiful, because you are, we're talking about passion, and talking, we have many, we do many sessions with students, and we talk to students all over the world. And we talk a lot about this the passion. Find something that you like, and English can help you in that path.
Yeah.
Finding what you like is very important. Being passionate about something. Learning English is a process that is hard and sometimes a little bit frustrating,
Yeah.
like you said, with the situations where you feel you're not good enough, or you can't say what you think. But when you have that mentality that you have of practice, and you're linking it to something you love, that's fantastic. I think that's such a beautiful message to young people, and also many times to teachers, because it's through the things that students like that we can motivate them to learn English, right? It's a beautiful story.
What I wanted to say also, maybe that will interest your students. I think when I started to learn English, I felt a bit insecure about my level of English, and I felt maybe I wasn't, of course, not as good as native speakers. And then once I broke that barrier, I realized that being able to learn to speak a new language, like maybe two, three, or more languages, it made me not unique, but a bit special in the eyes of other people that couldn't speak more than one languages. So I think it turned into, like, it's turning a weakness into a strength, really, the process of learning a new language.
I think that's a beautiful message, Pauline, because you talked about the fear of making mistakes, which I think all the learners have,
Yeah.
and I think teachers really I think, and we know teachers really try to help, and this need to be perfect, but it's actually a superpower that we have, because when you are an English native speaker and you only speak English, that's your native language, that's it. And when you are able to speak two, three languages, you really have superpowers, and you can connect and go out of your mindset as a native French speaker, or a Spanish speaker, or Italian, and think with words from a different language. That thought what you said just now was fantastic. I would like to just to ask you a final question, and I think your story is fantastic, amazing. I know you do a lot of work also to help women and to empower people. And I wanted just to send a final message to, you know, teachers that will listen to you, and students, people that are learning a language, but not just that, going through something, a process that is difficult, because learning a language is a process. Being being a sports person is going through this process. What is the skill? How do you overcome that challenge, those fears? What is the main thing you would say?
The motivation is not a skill. I mean, the motivation was the real reason. Like I said, like to be able to do good in my surfing career. And then I think maybe for me the skill that had helped was how curious I was, and
Curiosity.
I could manage to learn in a way that was fun for me. Like I said, I found ways to learn that I liked. So yeah, being curious and eager to learn, I think, is a good.
That is beautiful. Being curious,
Yeah,
always wanting to know more, right?
and
That's
even like
beautiful.
if you have a question, like I said, just ask the person. And I
Ask.
think, yeah, we are always so afraid of making mistakes, but it's not that bad if we do, right? So
No, nothing's going to
the way to
happen. You make
grow,
a mistake.
and the
Make
faster
a
you make the
mistake.
mistakes, the faster you will get better. Yeah,
Merci
okay.
beaucoup, Pauline.
Merci.
It was so nice to speak to you. I think your story, but the way also you see yourself, and the way you see your path is so inspiring. Thank you so much for talking
Thank
to
you for
us.
having me. That was really a really great interview.